I'm Richard Clarkson. I'm Professor of Cancer Studies at Cardiff University and Director of the European Cancer Stem Cell Research Institute.
And I'm Dr. Helen Pearson, and I'm a Senior Lecturer at Cardiff University, and we're both researching prostate cancer with a specific interest in a protein called BCL3.
It was a happy coincidence, really, and also a really good indication of why it's important to work within institutes, because I was working on this gene called BCL3. We have a new molecule which is able to inhibit the activity of this gene, and we think it has a really important role to play as a therapeutic for breast cancer and colorectal cancer. And then it turns out that Helen had been working in prostate cancer on exactly the same target.
What we're working on is basically, as prostate cancers grow, they're instructed by different signals to tell them to grow. What we've identified is a specific message that tells cancers how to grow, that we've found an inhibitor that can target that and stop that message, specifically with a new drug that Richard and his team have been developing. So we've basically brought these two elements together in a swathe of different laboratory models so that we can try and understand what disease stage this inhibitor might be useful in, and what disease subtype. And we're also, there's a lot to do, but we're also looking at whether we can use this particular treatment in combination with therapies that are already existing in the clinic, like hormone therapies, which means that we can then apply the information that we find from the lab directly to the clinic.
We've already illustrated that it stops the spread of disease in breast cancers and in colorectal cancers. So it's a perfect marriage, really, because that's exactly the sort of thing we want to try and do in prostate cancer to prevent this disease from progressing.
I think over the next 3 years, we're really hoping that this project will have basically covered all of the groundwork that we need to do to understand which type of disease is most likely to respond to this treatment in the clinic. Then we can design the best clinical trial possible.
Once we've established that, at that point then we know exactly which patients we should be targeting and using this drug in the clinic to help patients that we've identified would best respond.
We think this research is really important for the clinic because at the moment, when you get to a certain stage of disease progression, particularly when it's spread around the body, it's very difficult to treat. And we're basically running out of options to treat these patients when they're not responding any longer to the standard of care. So we need new treatments that can work in that space and offer patients another sense of hope, a treatment that, might provide another avenue of care for them that we're not currently able to provide.
Our job inherently is about discovery. It doesn't happen every day, but when you do discover something new, or you find that one of your colleagues in the same environment is working on something that's particularly relevant to what you do, we could work off each other and get quite excited about the potential for new discoveries.
I think cancer's a bit like a jigsaw, like trying to fill in the gaps and figure out exactly how you can treat people and which cancers should be treated with which drugs is super complex. So just even finding one piece of the jigsaw and slotting that into place that's what keeps us going, I think, on a personal level, is how we can actually help patients, in the long haul.
You have to keep focused on what you're doing and how it's going to help in the future. As Helen has been saying about jigsaw pieces, you just got to add the extra piece in and keep adding the pieces in until the picture starts to develop. That can be frustrating because it can take time and effort, but as long as we keep the bigger picture in mind, and that's the patients basically, if we can help the patients in the future with whatever we're doing, then that will keep us going.